This Jocks 94.5 podcast is brought to you by Millennium Satellite and Video. Log on to msbnow.com. TV excellence everywhere. That's Millennium. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning starts now.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Final hour of the show, Friday, August 8th, 9 a.m., Jocks 94.5. Listen online, jocksfm.com. Tell your home smart speaker to just enable the Jock skill. You can listen that way. And don't forget, you can watch us live each and every morning on YouTube. Search Jocks 945.
I'll celebrate the kickoff to college football with us at Bill Smith Buick GMC Jocks kickoff party at Regents Field on Thursday, August 21st. And the only way to go is by winning tickets. To win a pair of tickets for you and a guest, text the keyword Barons and your full name to 205-834-9450. That's keyword Barons, like the Birmingham Barons, and your full name to 205-834-9450. Winners are drawn and notified daily. For more information, visit jocksfm.com.
Thanks for clarifying Birmingham. I don't know what other Barons we would be referencing, like the Red Baron. What other Barons would we be going with there?
I don't know. I had a
Barons Financial
Baron
News and Investment.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's some. I'm sure there's some like in the United Kingdom. There's some type of like big baron. You got oil barons, all over the state of Texas. Like there's all sorts of. So it's good work there by Damien, I think.
Got that in there.
Birmingham.
There it is. All right. We've talked some South Carolina today. We've talked a little Arkansas today. We talked some Alabama. Heard from Kane Womack earlier today. Auburn wide receiver Perry Thompson yesterday discussing kind of what he's worked on and what he's improved on this offseason.
Just a lot of more crafting my work, more of just technical stuff and routes. But I feel like everything, I'll say like last year, it went from like a 4 to like a 8, 9 now. So I feel a lot better in that.
Also discussing kind of Hugh Freeze getting after him a little bit and how the team and he are taking to that.
I feel good. He ripped me in the butt earlier about that. He was like, you got to hold me to a high standard, like you said, because breakout year for me, and just can't let no slack go by. So I just got to play. I got to keep myself to a high standard every day we come out to practice.
So Freeze has been kind of up and down this week, Greg. He felt really good about yesterday's practice. The previous practice felt terrible about. Didn't like the effort. Said the guys kind of had heavy legs. Didn't feel like the intensity was where it needed to be. I know sometimes this is just you're going to get to a point in camp where the coach needs to get mad and feels like he needs to call guys out. How have you felt just about what you've heard from Hugh Freeze, even though it's been a little bit of a roller coaster through fall camp so far?
Well, I feel okay about it. Like we talked about yesterday. I mean, Hugh was outspoken about the effort they got in camp. A couple days ago in practice, and it not being up to the standard that they want from a daily basis with how they're approaching practice. So I think when you're having that kind of honest dialogue, that's helpful. It gives the players a real expectation of how things are supposed to go, and it hopefully will kind of extinguish anything that would happen to make sure that lack of effort doesn't permeate to the next practice and the next day and basically take over the week, what have you. So I think everything I've heard so far feels pretty positive. They're happy with Jackson. He's being more decisive. He's being more aggressive. I think they're happy with how things are progressing defensively. Like, sounds like it's been a good camp so far. Plus, no injuries that I've heard of up to this point that appear to be significant, whereas in other places, a la Florida, they've had a couple guys go down already.
They have been healthy. That's a real positive. That hasn't been the case at a lot of SEC camps. And you kind of made fun of me yesterday for the aggressive comments that I maybe took a little bit too serious or took a little bit too far from Hugh Freeze. But I think you got to find the little things that of your biggest concerns and sort of ask yourself, are those going to point to where you want them to be or need them to be if you're going to have confidence with that team? And that's one of them. Hearing about Jackson Arnold, not just being more decisive, but being aggressive, attacking. And that goes back, Greg, to what you said about that mindset that he may have been trapped in last year playing for a defensive-minded coach. Hell, he told you and I in media days, I'm not trying to rip anybody. I'm not trying to direct this at another coach. He goes, but that's accurate. Like that's very real. That the mindset from a defensive-minded coach usually is, don't screw this up. Don't make a mistake. Don't hurt our field position. Don't turn the ball over here. As opposed to now it's attack, go get it, make this happen, make this throw, make this play. And I imagine, Greg, as a quarterback, that can be a huge relief when you go from one to the other.
Yeah, really big. I would think. I mean, look, I only ever played for defensive-minded head coaches in college and in the NFL. So I never played for an offensive-minded head coach. Never really got that experience. Did in high school, but that was different. I mean, it was just, I don't view that the same personally because we were just better than everybody. We were just better than every team we played. I mean, it was just pretty simple. So didn't require that delicate balance. I mean, it was. I mean, we won a lot of games. So I don't feel like the lessons I learned having played for an offensive head coach in high school had as much of an impact on me. But having played for Nick Saban, Rex Ryan, and then Marvin Lewis, and while I did get 1 year with Mike Shula, I was drinking water out of a fire hose. I mean, I didn't know what the heck was going on. I was a freshman that was trying to figure out the offense, and frankly, it was kind of structured like an NFL practice to begin with. It was just kind of strange. So I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you what that would do. I would think it'd be beneficial to have a coach tell you, keep the pedal pressed, like keep it going, as opposed to, hey, pull back a little bit. You're trying to do too much. But I also think that can be a hindrance too if you get a false sense of security about what you can pull off throughout the game.
I imagine though that would help you more if you didn't necessarily have an assertive personality, which I don't think he does. And that's not a knock, not a bad thing, not a negative. I don't think that's him. I don't think he is boisterous, loud. I don't think he has much of a general attitude outwardly, so to speak. Now internally, who knows? We don't really know what that is, but part of that reset process that has to take place. And when you hear these things about Jackson Arnold, Damian, is that the biggest question you need answered for Auburn heading into the opener of not only can they get Baylor, but can they be in contention for a college football playoff berth?
Yeah, I'm with it. It's because to me, the one thing that Jackson Arnold lost last year was confidence. And, maybe going to Auburn was the reset that he needed. And, Greg, you played quarterback. Most of it is between the years. Like the physical stuff, the physical assets, like we know he has the ability. It's all mental for him. So as long as he can get over those hurdles, I think Auburn should be expected to win a lot of games.
Greg, I actually had somebody the other day, we were going back and forth about this Jackson Arnold thing, and they said, I said something similar to what Damian said, and they asked me, and this is a person that has a decent football IQ. You really think he's got that much ability? You really think the talent level's that high? And I don't know. Maybe some people don't realize. But haven't watched enough. I don't. How do you describe the God-given ability as a quarterback that Jackson Arnold has?
I mean, I think he can throw it. I think he's very talented. I don't think he's necessarily like Vince Young. I mean, I don't think he's. But I think he's got some like Sam Ehlinger qualities. That's who he kind of reminds me of, who is a rock-solid college football player. Maybe a slightly stronger arm, but when I watch him, I see some Sam Ehlinger. I think except Sam Ehlinger was a bit of a bulldog. A guy that was kind of a grinder and a guy that was going to persevere through whatever adversity that might transpire on the football field. And maybe that's where Jackson Arnold will get. It just wasn't there in his first 2 years in college football. So I think he's plenty talented to do all the things that you want him to do. But as far as being, first overall pick, probably not. But I do think he's got plenty of gifts and plenty of ability to do some nice things.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that we even have to sort of asterisk that with when we talk about guys being college football players. That's what we're referencing them as. We're not. If we say Jackson Arnold has a boatload of ability or all the ability he needs to be super successful in college, it doesn't automatically mean we're saying that he's going to be the number one pick or that he's going to be a franchise quarterback in the NFL for 20 years. And there's a lot of people that try to group that together. It's not necessarily where we're going. I think he throws the ball better than Vince Young, personally. I mean, I think he's got a more consistent release. I think he spins it better. If they both stood there and saw who could throw it the furthest, I don't think it would be very different. I think he throws a more accurate deep ball. Now, as far as, who do you think's faster, Vince Young or Jackson Arnold? I'm dead serious. I mean, it's close, right?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, Vince Young, long strider.
Right.
So
yeah, he's a strider.
Jackson Arnold probably going to have
he's
the 10-yard
split.
He's never going to
look as fast.
Yeah, Jackson Arnold probably win the 10-yard split. Vince Young might win the last 10 yards. But it's going to be close. Now, just awareness and ball player capability, that's Vince Young.
Yeah.
Like that, none of us are going to doubt that. I mean, dude, just He just knew what to do and when to do it. And there's a lot of that's not coached. That also can be God-given, and Vince Young had that. So that's where I think the biggest separator would be. But I was surprised that, and I have been a lot of times this offseason, of how many people, like we went to Decatur last weekend, Friday, for one of my sister-in-law's kids' birthday. And one of the friends of the family that had come over, he was asking me about Jackson Arnold. I said some of the same things. They're like, so you think he has that much talent? I'm just like, why are people surprised by this?
Right.
I understand that the on-the-field success has not been what maybe that part of it sounds like, but the ability is there. And it's odd to me that some people doubt that, because that to me is easily seen. He just hasn't been successful with it, with the situation that he's been put into. So I don't know, G-Max, is that surprising to you that people don't really believe or know that Jackson Arnold does have that kind of ability?
No, I think it's perfectly reasonable. I think he's very talented. But I also wonder, let's be real, how many people have really watched him? Honestly.
Fair.
Like, I really want to know that. They watched him against Tennessee last year. Didn't play well. Didn't go well. Eventually got benched. They watched him play against Alabama, but most of the damage done in that game was on the ground. How many other Oklahoma games were people watching last year? Seriously.
Yeah, no,
that involved him. I'm not talking about Auburn game, because that was Hawkins.
Right.
I'm talking about the games that he started and played. How many people watched him?
The answer is very few. I'd love to give you the LSU game, but I think that was probably a weekend where there were a lot of other games that had a lot more interest. So probably not even that one.
No.
Yeah, it's fair. So not a ton. But if you're asking us what kind of ability he's got, it's a lot. And I don't think anybody here on this show would play that down. And the problem is, when you say that, people immediately say that you're saying that he's, the next Baker Mayfield or Kyler Murray, or he's going to be as good as so-and-so. And it's just, it doesn't have to be that we think he's going to win the Heisman. We just think that he's got the ability to potentially go out and be a good college football player. Golden Domer wants
people hear talent, and they automatically think, oh, he's great. That's not true at all. Like, there is a huge difference between being talented and being good. Like, that to me is, I think, difference. What's amazing, that people cannot connect those dots. I remember a couple years ago, I was doing a radio show, and people asked me who's more talented, Jamie Newman or Mac Jones. I said Jamie Newman's more talented. Still is. Not as good a player.
Still is.
But the guy was an absolute freak. He was unbelievable. Like, you just watch him throw the ball and watch him run. It's like, oh my gosh. Like, tell me who's more talented. Joe Milton or A.J. McCarron?
It's not close.
Not close. Who'd you rather have in college? Like, A.J. McCarron by a mile.
Also
he's a better
close.
Player. You know what I mean? Like it to me, it's amazing that people can't differentiate talent versus quality of play. Like, having all the talent in the world doesn't make you a great player. Being a great player does require you to have talent, but it's not the other way around. Like, the most talented quarterback I've ever seen with my own two eyes, by a mile, was Jamarcus Russell. The most talented guy I've ever seen. And he's not going to be wearing a gold jacket someday. He's the best arm I have ever seen with my own two eyes. Throwing it. And he had a lackluster, and I know you can point to a million other reasons why his NFL career didn't materialize, but talent does not mean you're going to be great. It just means you have a chance to be great if things go into place. Because seldom do you have no talent and are good. You have to have talent to be good. But just because you have talent doesn't mean you are good.
No, I would agree. Golden Domer wants to chime in. He's been on hold for a minute. Domer, welcome into the show.
Top of the morning, boys. We're right around the corner.
Yep, we're getting close.
Now, Greg, I just want to let you know, man, the word on the street, on Twitterville, Greg McElroy is an undercover Notre Dame fan. Just trying to let you know.
I don't even know if it's undercover anymore. It's pretty well established. My kids actually have Notre Dame paraphernalia.
Embrace it, man. Look, embrace it. Look, you can't help it. You're redheaded. Look, you're redheaded. You're pale. You were born to be a Notre Dame Fighting Irish man.
I'm not as pale as you think, but yes, that's fair. Redheaded, accurate. Freckles, accurate. But this time of year, Domer, I got to go out there and get some sun. Catch some rays.
Yeah.
You get it?
Look, I'm gonna come. Look, this is true. Now, look, something else. Now, you've been real high on Auburn. You're always very optimistic about Auburn. I think you even said if you could, you would put them in your top 20 this year. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think I have them in the top 20. Yeah.
So you got Auburn 20. You got Notre Dame number 3. You're trying to make some Alabama people mad, my friend.
He does that anyway.
5.
So
I got
But
Bama
look,
5. I feel like
I'm
that's a
gonna be
pretty good
honest with you.
spot for him.
I'll be honest with you. I think you're a little high on Notre Dame. I'm not going to push back too much. I think you're astronomically high on Auburn. I'll be honest with you. I cannot. I just there's no, in my opinion, and you have the right to your opinion. I don't think there's any actual reason to actually think that Auburn is top 20. I mean, I know we can keep on thinking and keep on hoping, but at some point in time, guys, Auburn's got to produce on the field. I mean, they have not been good in a very, very long time. And I just don't know that you can point to very much to say that we think it's going to be different. I mean, there's teams that have proven it on the field that we're not even talking about in the top 25 that have proven playmakers.
Who has proven
back.
it on the field that's not in the top 25?
More than Auburn, 75% of the Power 5. I mean, honestly, Cole, who hasn't proven more than Auburn? That's the better question.
With this,
who has not proven?
With this roster, I think is the difference in where you're not referencing.
But
Like
they've
you
had
can't
a
just
decent
say
roster,
that
Cole.
this is the same thing with Penn State this year. Is that
All right.
James can't win the big one? James hasn't had this roster.
But Penn State's been somewhat decent, Cole. Auburn's been terrible. I mean, honestly, Cole, they have been terrible. And for us, I mean, when's the last time they won? I mean, what they lost 5 games? How many years in a row now? And then now we think they're going to be top 20?
Well, hear me out for a second. Hear me out for a second.
Right.
I think to be in the top 25, you probably got to go 8-4, right? I think that's pretty fair assessment. You go 8-4, you're in the top 25. I think Auburn can get to 8-4 this year. And tell me who you have more confidence in. Like, who's got a higher ceiling? And this year's, frankly, right now, Domer, you look at teams 16 through 30, it's kind of
It
interchangeable.
could go anywhere.
I mean, it could go in
I'll
any
be honest with
direction.
you,
Like,
and
you can
you
make
may
a
think I'm
strong
crazy.
case. You can make a strong case for Louisville. You can make a strong case for SC. You can make a strong case for Utah. You can make a strong case for Oklahoma. You can make a strong case for Baylor. You can make a strong case for Auburn.
I'll be honest
make a
with you.
strong
If you
case for
put them
Iowa
on a
State.
neutral field, I think you put them on a neutral field. Some people are probably going to take a deep breath when I say this. I would take Navy over Auburn. Navy knows who they are. Navy has a system. Navy has a coach. Navy has one on the field. I think
Against
we're not
who?
talking about Navy. They beat Oklahoma. The
Against
guy you're
who?
talking about, the Vince Young. Think they beat them, did they not? Against
What
them.
year are we talking
When he was
about?
playing for the Titans?
Navy. I saw Navy and called a Navy game last year involving Notre Dame, and let me just tell you, the gap that exists between Navy right now and the Power 5 teams that they would face is enormous. Look, they got a great
think
culture.
Notre Dame
They
would
have
have probably done that
they have a
same thing
great
to Auburn.
system.
Hey, just hold on a second, Greg. Domer. Navy lost to Rice last year.
Okay. You may
So-
start naming the teams Auburn's lost to?
But,
Auburn is not good, guys. They're not good.
but
There's
you're
no
telling us
reason
how
to be
good Navy is. They
I thought
lost
Navy
to
went to the
Rice,
field.
one of the worst perennial football teams in the last 20 years.
Notre
JT
Dame lost to
Daniels.
Northern Illinois. Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois. It happens. Did Navy not beat Oklahoma? Or did I miss that? Did I imagine that?
Last year?
Yeah, did they not play them in a bowl game, or am I crazy?
Yes, but I mean, come on, man. Like, we know what bowl games are. We love bowl games, but like,
But Auburn has those recruits, though, those stars, man. You know, they all in long. On the field, they don't know who they are, guys. Navy knows who they are. When you line up, they know who they are. They got an identity. They have a culture. I would take Navy head-to-head. I'm sorry.
Good.
I've seen them win.
take them then.
Okay.
Take them. I'm sure you can get great odds on Navy to the playoffs right now. Go for
Well, I know this. What were the odds Navy versus Oklahoma? I think they were about a 13-point underdog.
You and I both know
Half
that
the
bowl
roster
games,
was
bowl
gone.
games are
Like-
bowl games do not count, dude. Like, I'm sorry.
I know, but
love
okay,
you.
that's fine. That's fine. We can say that. But Auburn on the field, guys, it's almost like we just forget what they do. It's like every year we're like, well, I think Auburn might actually surprise. I don't know if you remember, Greg, but 3 years ago I told you there were some dark, dark days coming for Auburn football. And you said you think they're a program on the rise. I think you dramatically overrate them. I have no idea why. I just don't think Auburn is good in any way, fashion, or form.
Okay. Thank you for the call.
Upside. I mean, I take the upside. And last year, frankly, I mean, they were really close in a lot of games last year, and they were their own worst enemies. So I'm banking on those things getting cleaned up this year. This team wasn't that far away last year. That's I think part of the reason they allowed the Cal team to beat them twice, which was stupid. And I think if you were to ask Hugh Freeze right now, he would tell you, yeah, probably shouldn't have played the guy that I ended up playing who can't play. And he goes out and puts him in a hole against Arkansas. That game had absolutely no reason. He could have built up Peyton Thorne's confidence level by starting him against God knows who there, the game in between. And then he has a full head of steam going to Arkansas, lose that one. He makes a critical error against Oklahoma. That game could have looked differently. They're up 11 in the fourth quarter. I mean, like last year, they were kind of a snake-bit team. And I'm not making excuses for them. By all means, it's Auburn, for crying out loud. But they were a bit of a snake-bit team, and I'm banking on those things being cleaned up this year. Could it absolutely blow up in my face? 100%. I think Baylor's a top 25 team going into the season too, and they haven't done much lately either. I know they won 6 in a row to finish the season last year, but 2 years ago they're terrible. They get off to a 2-4 start last year. I think they're better.
What has SMU done the last 20 years? I don't think last year is necessarily always an indicator of future results. Like, I think SC is a top 12 team this year. Like, that's really high and probably a bit crazy in some people's eyes. But guess what? Like, I'm banking on the upside. I think Ohio State's the 8th ranked team in the college football. People think I'm nuts because, they're top 3. Well, how do you know? There's too many new people. There's too many new faces. Recruited well, great, but so did Michigan. And they were 6-5 going to the last game of the regular season last year. So I don't know, man. I'm taking the upside in a lot of these cases, and I think Auburn's got a ton of upside. Now, situationally, they got to be better, but I think they got a chance to be pretty good. I just think we're so far past what you were last year is what you are this year with how rosters have changed and morphed and adapted. I mean, you talk about last year's Auburn team. We know that there were struggles and poor decisions made at the quarterback position, and we've labeled it with if the entire offseason. This kid figures that part of it out from a talent perspective. There's not a ton you take before him, so it can change things in a hurry. Still got to go happen. Still got to make it happen. We'll make Andrew Bone happen on the show next, right here on Mac and Cube in the morning.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, 3-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. I'm going to go right to the Higginbotham hotline now. Talk to Andrew Bone about Alabama's fall camp. And an interesting write-up on Bray Hubbard that you had recently, Andrew. A guy on that side of the football that not a lot of people talking about. Not a lot of people looking at to be either an impact player or somebody who can really help this defense take strides. Based on your conversations, why do you think he is going to be an integral part of this defense this coming season for Alabama?
Yeah, I think when you look back at last year when he jumped in the mix right after Keon Sabb was injured, I mean, he had an excellent year. I mean, he was outstanding. Those last 4 or 5 games of the year, made a big impact. But now we're starting to see that growth, and not just from talking to Bray, but talking to Alabama defensive backs coach Mo Linquist the other day. I asked him, who were 2 guys who had really kind of taken that next step, taking it to another level. And the first guy he mentioned was Bray Hubbard, from a leadership role, but also from a development role. Feels like he's going to be one of the biggest leaders on the defense this fall. And, you look back at Bray's career, he started out at Ocean Springs High School in Mississippi as a quarterback, was a 2-time Mr. Football Award winner in Mississippi at quarterback. Had never really played safety before, came to Tuscaloosa, worked out at Alabama's football camp in front of Coach Saban, and they offered him a scholarship. He was a Southern Miss baseball commitment, but Alabama saw something in him that they thought a couple of years from now he might be a really good safety in this league, and we're starting to see that development. He's a really smart kid, pretty humble. I mean, he was just so honored that people were talking to him at media day on Monday. And he was one of the main guys that was up on stage, that all the media was surrounding and talking to him, and he loved it. But at the same time, he's trying to help his team. He's trying to help the younger guys learn their roles, and I think that they're going to have a outstanding secondary, as we know, heading into the season. And I think depth's really key there. But Bray is, he's really developed into, I think, one of the best safeties, not only at Alabama but in the league.
Secondary, it was such a big question mark last year, Andrew. And now I think you can make a strong argument it is one of the best secondaries in the entire country. Does the staff seem to kind of feel that way as well?
Well, we saw Kane Womack talk about it last week. He said at the Tennessee game last year, they really felt like they had only about 5 or 6 guys that they could really trust to go out there and play winning football. And now there's a lot more. And I talked to Mo Lindquist about that the other day. He feels really confident about that group, but he said, they also have to stay humble, and we get humbled every day at practice by going up against this wide receiver group. So I think, having those two units go up against each other every single day at practice has really made that group stronger. But you have some older guys in that room. You have veterans coming back. They were starting last year. Keon Sabb's back. Damani Jackson. A lot of guys that were learning the defense for the first time. But the fact that they have probably 8 or 9 guys that they trust right now that can go out and play winning football, I think that's been really key. And then you have some freshmen that have started to really make some noise in fall camp. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to go in there and be the second guy if somebody gets hurt, but I think a guy like Dejon Lee has really impressed them since his arrival earlier this year, and had a great spring, and he's continued to do well in training camp. They talked about Ivan Taylor, the safety, son of Ike Taylor, who came in and has really hit the ground running there. But I think the veterans, the depth right now is really key, and I would say it's probably the deepest, most talented room on Alabama's entire team.
Andrew Bone joining us, talking Alabama Crimson Tide. And staying on defense, we rolled through the defensive line a little bit earlier, and some of the individuals that maybe can step up, will step up. Are there some youngsters there, not just on the D-line, but also maybe in that pass rush spot behind Quay Russo, because we have all the confidence in the world in him, that you feel like can make a bigger impact based on what you're hearing than maybe some of the depth charts are showing heading into the opener?
Yeah, as you said, I mean, Tim Keenan and James Smith are two guys that are coming back that a lot of people have high expectations for. I think the defensive line rotation, as we've seen with those really good Alabama teams during the Saban era, that they were keeping guys fresh, rotating a lot of guys in. Of course, a lot of those second and third team guys ended up being first round draft picks. I don't know if Alabama has a second and third team roster right now that are all going to be first rounders. But I think with Jeremiah Beeman, that's a kid that I really am very high on right now, coming into his second season. I remember when he came out of high school at 265 pounds. He's now 315 pounds, and it's not from being overweight. I mean, he's really developed well. I think Edric Hill is another guy that they're really excited about and really like his development. Now, I think on the outside, that's going to be kind of, some, I don't want to say it's question marks, but you're trying to, wait and see who is going to be that next guy, because about Quay Russo, about LT Overton. Is Keon Keeley going to be able to take that next step and be the impact player that we kind of thought that he would be coming out of high school? And I think he's had a good camp so far, but you got to see it on the field. And then as far as the Wolf position, I asked Quay about that the other day, who's really kind of stepped up there. And he mentioned Yanze Pierre. This was another highly talented kid out of Eufaula High School a few years ago. He said he's really starting to understand the game. He said he's always been talented, but he's really understanding the defense a lot more. And I would say that about pretty much everybody on this Alabama defense. They were going into a new system last year with Kane Womack and learning a lot of new stuff. A lot of guys were playing with each other for the first time, and now you have so many of them coming back, playing together and understanding the defense and trusting each other a lot more and knowing what the guy next to them is supposed to do. I think that's going to make them a lot better. But like I said, I think as far as the defensive line, they feel a lot better about it, but still got to see once the product gets out there on the field.
When you look at the kind of the depth of the wide receiver room, we know who the top three are. That goes to be seen. We know that. You've heard some buzz about Latsier Brooks in the spring and throughout the summer. Sounds like he's a little banged up, but hoping he can get back to 100%. You hear buzz about Rico Scott. Like, what does it look like beyond the top three, and what do you think that pecking order has a chance to be?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they get a lot of these guys reps this season. I mean, as you mentioned, the top three are pretty much set with Ryan Bernard and Horton, and I think Rico Scott. If he was about anywhere else, I think he would be either in that 1 or 2 spot because he has really come on strong. The coaches were raving about him the other day from talking to them. Talking to Mo Linquist, talking to Jamarcus Shepard, and even Ryan Williams said that that's the guy that he felt like has had the best summer and best fall camp. So Rico's certainly a guy that I think we're going to see on the field a lot. I'm interested to see Cole Adams, who started to kind of find a groove last year until he got injured. He's back to being 100%, so we're going to see him out there on the field. Jalen Hill is another guy that we're starting to hear more about coming off of his injury, but how's he going to be once he really gets into that live game action? But it's definitely a talented wide receiver room this season. Latsier Brooks that's the guy that everybody was talking about throughout the spring and summer, as you mentioned, but being out, this first week of practice, Coach DeBoer said it the other day that he didn't expect it to be a long-term thing, that he would be okay, but, missing these quality reps in fall camp, probably going to push him back a little bit. Still wouldn't be surprised if we saw him make some plays on the field this fall.
Visiting with Andrew Bone, talking Alabama football. I know another position that I'm interested to get your thoughts in, Andrew, hearing about maybe some up-and-comers and where they will be. I think Jam Miller has a breakout year. We saw a little bit of Richard Young last year, but where I like Dre Washington out of ULL, or I'm sorry, excuse me, the Cajuns. That's the only way I'm allowed to reference them. But where is the running back room as you've heard about it so far?
Well, we saw Ryan Grubb, really talk highly of Jam Miller the other day. I can remember back in the spring and summer, a lot of people were saying, is Jam going to be the guy? Or, is somebody like Daniel Hill or Richard Young going to take that spot? It seems like he has secured that one spot. And, you have Richard Young, you have Daniel Hill. These are guys that are 225, 240 pounds that can come in there and just be bell cows for Alabama's running back room. But, Washington brings a little bit of a different speed there. I mean, he's got the juice. He's got some wiggle. He's also 218 pounds right now. So you got some really thick, physical running backs in Alabama's room. I'm kind of interested to see, what happens with some of these other guys. Does A.K. Deere, an incoming freshman, number 2 running back in the country, does he get some carries? We're starting to hear a little bit of buzz about him. Kevin Riley, who came in last year, it seems like he's sort of fallen off from that, top group, but, he's still there. And, you could easily see him potentially getting some carries late in games. But it's going to be really interesting with that top 4 and maybe even 5, how many carries they're going to get a game. But it certainly seems like Jam Miller is going to get, I don't know, I think it's going to be the bulk, but I also see Daniel Hill, Richard Young getting plenty of carries, and you got to get Washington in there, who's had a really good fall camp as well.
Andrew, we appreciate the time, man. Great stuff. Good catching up with you. Thanks for the insight on Alabama today. Really appreciate it, and we'll catch up again soon.
Anytime, guys. Have a great weekend.
You too. Andrew Bone with BamaOnLine.com, part of the Rivals Network. Also at Andrew J. Bone. You can follow him on Twitter, updating us on multiple positions there at Alabama, Greg. And I don't feel like running back's one we've spent a lot of time on. You and I both have kind of been waiting on Jam Miller to bust out for a couple of years. I'm a big fan of Dre Washington. Do you have any feel on how the carries will be distributed, at least early in the season for Alabama?
I'd be surprised if there isn't a pretty heavy lean towards giving the other three guys 50% of it. So I could see Jam getting 50 and the other three guys situationally getting another 50. It's going to play out, I think, as far as touches, how they feel situationally, opponents. Do you feel better with maybe a guy that can wiggle, that can give you a little something in the passing game like Jam can, or do you want a guy that's going to be the absolute hammer and just pound it? And even if it's 3-4 yards in a cloud of dust, that's fine. But I think it depends a little on the offensive line. If the offensive line is moving folks, if the offensive line is opening holes, then you want Jam. But if the offensive line maybe is taking a little while to kind of create that continuity that you want, then maybe you need a guy that's just going to run up their back, then by all means, you do that too. So I think that's going to be something that's played out over the course of the season, but I could see it being kind of game by game, hot hand type of approach, and dependent on how the defense is trying to match personnel and what the defense wants. Or what you want to attack the defense with, whether it's power or versatility, because Jam's versatility, the other three seem to be more power.
No, I would agree there. It's going to be a fun watch to see exactly kind of where this goes and what it looks like. I think a pretty high floor for the Alabama running back room this upcoming season. If you need new flooring, though, who should you call?
Shinar Flooring. They do an amazing job, and they have 40,000 square feet of Core-Tec flooring in stock right now. That Core-Tec flooring is pet-proof, durable, kid-proof, adds value to your home or business. Wherever you put it, it's going to be able to retain its value. It's going to protect your home. And Shannara Flooring will make sure they protect your flooring, your home as well when they install that flooring. It's a hard job, but they do it better than anybody in the community. And right now, because of how much they have in stock, you can get $10 off per box from Shannara Flooring if you order that Core-Tec flooring. That Core-Tec flooring, $10 off per box, that's a great deal, and the savings can really add up depending on how much you decide to purchase. So go and check them out and lock in right now. You can get 12 months financing if that's the direction you want to go. Go to Shannara Flooring online by going to footandyou.com. That's footandyou.com.
All right, when we come back, we'll give you our Super Sofa Game of the Week and more next, Mac and Cube in the morning.
The capital of the sports talk nation. This is Jocks 94.5 and JocksFM.com. Birmingham.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy Cubelic in the morning. One thing I did want to bring up on the show today was preseason polls. There's been a lot of discussion about this recently. Coaches poll came out. We gave you kind of our like, don't like, too high, too low, teams that were missed. There's an interesting article up at CBS Sports now on preseason polls, good or bad for college football. And, Greg, it made me think about some of the individuals that we had a chance to catch up with during our seminar for ESPN getting ready for college football season, and some folks who have a lot of influence in the sport. Some saying that they think preseason polls are good. Others say preseason polls are dumb. Where are you on preseason polls? Good, bad for college football?
Good. It generates conversation and buzz. And as long as you don't allow it to impact the way you view teams, then it shouldn't be a big deal. Like, if a team comes out and you have them ranked in the top 8 in the preseason and they lay an egg week 1, guess what? Drop them and rank them accordingly. The biggest problem with preseason polls is that people refuse to get off their preseason acknowledgement of a team's quality. That's why people have a problem with it. Because, oh, well, this team won, but they won close against an FCS team. Let's leave them where they're at. No, drop them if they look terrible. And if a team looks great that's not ranked, guess what? Rank them up there highly based on what they've done this season, not what they projected to do in the preseason. So I love them because it drums up interest, but I also acknowledge that far too many people in the polling world stick to their convictions about a team for far too long.
You don't need a poll to tell you how good Game Day Men's Health is. If you're feeling on edge, if you're lacking sleep, if you lack energy, Game Day Men's Health can help you today, and here's how they're going to do it. You go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com right now, sign up for the free consultation. You get the free PSA test, free testosterone test, and Game Day Men's Health is going to give you an idea where your baseline health is. So they want to help you get the energy back, get the good night's sleep back, not have you feeling on edge, get rid of the brain fog. They can do all of that. If it's weight loss, they can help you there as well. Peptides now in stock to help you with multiple ailments. Your body stops making these over time. Game Day Men's Health wants to help you with that. Holistic approach to health and wellness. Minimal upfront costs from the programs that they offer. Just go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today and sign up for the free consultation. Damian, preseason polls in college football, good or bad?
I think they're good. Kind of like Greg said, it drums up the interest. And to his point, yeah, if a team that you project to be a pretty good team does not look well in week 1, yes, it's okay to shuffle everything around. It's perfectly fine. But I agree with Greg. It's worth talking about.
John, preseason polls, good, bad for college football?
I guess I would have to say probably bad. I'm there with y'all in that, yeah, if you think of someone that they're highly ranked and they lose an FCS team, yeah, drop them. But a lot of times they don't. They may drop them whatever a little bit, or they may kind of have them maybe kind of low to begin with, and then they get a decent win. Oh, okay, so yeah, it kind of validates. And I would much rather maybe a poll come out in September after we've seen some action, seen some teams at least face each other. We can kind of get an idea. Then at that point, we don't have any preconceived notions, because right now a lot of people, perhaps justifiably so, are rather high on Texas, but they're also ready to have Arch, who has said he's not going to the NFL, have given him the preseason everything. But we all kind of know that, yeah, he's a good quarterback, but he's probably not the best in the SEC. But preseason, we're already kind of thinking that and kind of establishing that going in, and it's going to be hard-pressed for him to do anything that'll take that away.
Who said he's not going to the NFL?
Archie.
His granddad.
Right. Archie said Arch's not going to the NFL.
That's what he said.
Okay.
Well, it's Manning. It's like drumline.
Not Arch.
One family, one sound,
It's all
one
the
voice.
same.
Arch didn't
It's all
say
the
it.
same. One voice.
Arch didn't say it.
Where are you at? Where are you at with preseason polls, Cole?
I think they're fine. I agree with you 100% that the biggest problem with them is people don't want to make movement. And probably a lot of that, as you also stated, is people don't want to admit that they were wrong about a team and can't say, well, I had Clemson in my top 5, and I know they've lost 2 out of the first 5, but you know what? I still think they're a top 5 team just because they don't want to be wrong about them. And I think especially early, it's okay to make those big adjustments, because then you can, if you need to hold on to a team after we've seen 4 or 5 games, it makes more sense to do that. Make the big adjustments early, which nobody really seems to want to do. Like watching that Netflix show last night, I'm thinking about if people would have had South Carolina in their top 10, what would they have done after week 1 last year when they had to score late to beat Old Dominion?
Mm-hmm.
But probably not a lot of people.
Yeah.
Probably not a lot of people had a lot of issue keeping them close to their top 10 at the end of the year. So it's fine. Move them around. But people get hung up on keeping a team in the top 5, top 10, and I do agree that that's one of the bigger issues. It might be an issue for you to get out to the Jocks kickoff party if you don't know how to be a part of it. Damian, tell our listeners how.
Yeah, you celebrate the kickoff to college football with us at the Bill Smith Buick GMC Jocks kickoff party at Regents Field on Thursday, August 21st. And the only way to go is by winning tickets. To win a pair of tickets for you and a guest, text the keyword Barons and your full name to 205-834-9450. Again, the keyword Barons and your full name to 205-834-9450. Winners are drawn and notified daily. For more information, visit jocksfm.com.
All right, when we come back, we give you our Super Sofa Game of the Week next on Mac and Cube in the morning.
Go inside Jocks 94.5 on Jocks TV. Morning Jocks, Mac and Cube, 3-man front video simulcasts are presented by Bill Smith Buick GMC and Game Day Men's Health. Watch on the Jocks mobile app and YouTube by searching Jocks 94.5 TV.
All right, welcome back in. McElroy Cubelic in the morning. Final segment of the week, Friday, August 8th, 9:53, right here on Jocks. Let's get you to our TD's Fine Furniture Super Sofa Game of the Week. Here's how this works. If you have not heard the show at this hour on this day before, we give you one game for the weekend. If you can only watch one, which one would it be? Tonight, only one of the preseason games is going to be on television, so that would be it. Cleveland at Carolina. Expected to see some extended Bryce Young time. Also, some of the rookies I'm interested in seeing. Tetior McMillan, wide receiver for the Panthers, drafted out of Arizona. You also have principally Uman Mielen that's going to be there. Nick Scorton out of Texas A&M for the Panthers. And then obviously Shedeur Sanders gets the start. Kenny Pickett hurt. Dylan Gabriel hurt. Every other quarterback hurt. on the Browns roster. So Shador's going to get the start tonight, but you still get Dylan Sampson. You get Quinshon Judkins. You get Mason Graham. A lot of rookies on both of these teams I'm interested in seeing a little bit of action for tonight. So Cleveland at Carolina, NFL preseason, 6 p.m. NFL Network, my Super Sofa game of the week. By the way, Carolina favored by 6 in that game.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Look
boy.
at you. Lay a bet.
Your total
Let's
32
do it.
and a half.
I dare you. Under. All right, let's get to my TD's Fine Furniture Super Sofa game of the weekend. It's crimson versus white. It's offense versus defense. It's scrimmage number 1 for the Alabama Crimson Tide. I will be in attendance tomorrow as I will head to Tuscaloosa to see what the Tide look like. I'm really fired up about it, and I've tried to find other games, but I'm like, honestly, the thing I'm most excited about by a mile, yep, that'd be what goes on in scrimmage number 1 tomorrow there in Bryant-Denny Stadium. So Bryant-Denny Stadium, scrimmage number 1, Alabama Crimson Tide on the field for the very first time. Pads popping. I'm going with the Bama scrimmage.
Is this open to the public?
No.
Oh,
But-
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
It's Super
invite
Sofa
only.
game of the week then.
Invite only.
Yeah.
How you gonna work that Super Sofa on the sideline?
Oh, I'm gonna find a way. I'm gonna have a recliner right there in the end zone, dialed in.
I got you. Well, you know where I'm going. Preseason NFL, the number 1 overall draft pick in this year's draft, Cam Ward, and the Tennessee Titans take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers tomorrow at 6:30. Might have to dig a little deep to find it, but that's my TD's Fine Furniture Super Sofa game of the weekend.
For me, probably the only time the Saints will be favored this year when they take on the
boy.
Chargers Sunday, 3 o'clock NFL Network. That's my Super Sofa game of the weekend. You can find your Super Sofa or furniture for the entire home at TD's Fine Furniture, where Labor Day sale means markdowns up to 50% throughout the store, including markdowns throughout the Flex Steel store. TD's Fine Furniture in Sumiton.
All right, there you go. That is this week for Mac and Cube. We're back Monday. Greg will give you updates from the Bama scrimmage. We'll give you updates from all around SEC camps as we will be. Are we in game week next week for week 0? Is that right?
No,
No.
another week.
Another week. Well, we'll get you set for a whole another week. 3-man front. Get you set for it next right here on Jocks.
This is McElroy and Cubelic in the morning.